Welcome to the channel. As you guys know, we like to take Knight Rider fandom to the extremes around here, and today's topic is no different. We love being able to focus in on one tiny, seemingly not so significant piece of Knight Rider history, and expend way too much energy on it. We've done just that on the schematics found on the semi-interior set for seasons 2 through 4. Learn more than you probably ever wanted to know about these beautiful pieces of artwork, to include where they came from and how to get exact copies of your own. So when did the schematics first appear on the show? We as viewers get to see these schematics after the semi-interior was refreshed for season 2. But speaking from a production order standpoint, it was actually a few episodes into season 2 that these diagrams made their first appearance. In the order in which season 2 was filmed, Return to Cadiz, Ring of Fire, Merchants of Death, Big Iron, and Brother's Keeper, none of those episodes had these schematics on the walls of the semi. After they finished filming those 5 episodes, the production took a 5.5-week break in filming, and it was during that break that the schematics were added to the semi. You can see them in the first episode filmed after that 5.5-week break, which happens to be the season premiere, Goliath. There are 3 distinctly different diagrams hanging on the walls, with this one being the most prominent. Were these created by the art department, or were they copied from a real wiring diagram somewhere? We were determined to find out. And before you ask, yes, the first thing we checked were schematics for the 1982 Trans Am, not a match. Looking at this diagram, the text is quite difficult to read, but we do see a few things. The caption at the bottom says, Figure 13.19 Overall Wiring Diagram 2 of 2. Well, that's a bit generic, right? Zooming in on some of the other text, we see things like seatbelt retractor switch, printed circuit connection rally gauges, door jamb switch, etc. Nothing that can definitively tie it into a specific model of car or even a specific make of car. Okay, fine. What about one of the other schematics then? In this screenshot from Burial Ground, we see a few details on one of the other diagrams. Choke relay, choke telltale, engine to dash ground. Again, still nothing to narrow down the car. Perhaps these diagrams were in fact just gibberish. Like we said, the first diagram we analyzed was the one seen most often in the series and the one subject to the closest shots given its placement right by KITT's driver's door. Many times when you see Michael driving into the semi and getting out, this is the diagram you see. The other 2 diagrams were always further in the background, making identification extremely difficult. But we can't give up that easily. So let's try to find a good shot of another schematic. After scouring all of the season 2 through 4 episodes that feature the interior semi-set, the best shot we get of this elusive schematic is this scene from Night in Retreat. It appears to show 2 separate diagrams, and we see what is clearly a V8 engine in both the top and bottom schematic. And take a look at this. We've got a different caption on this one. But what does it say? After staring at it for way too long, we think it says figure 13.20 engine compartment wiring diagrams for 305 and 301 cubic inch engines. And the rest is illegible. Finally, our first potential lead. So now the question is, did any one specific model of car offer a 301 and a 305 engine? According to Wikipedia, the 301 engine was available in these cars. For the naturally aspirated 301s, we have the Bonneville Catalina Firebird Grand Prix, Le Mans, Parisienne, and Grand Am from the late 70s through the early 80s, and the Buick Century, Regal, and LeSabre from the same time period. We also have the 80 and 81 Turbo Trans Am. So we don't see a turbo on the wiring diagram, so that most likely rules out the 80 to 81 Turbo Trans Am. But which of these cars, for these listed years, also had a 305 as an option? Well, we know one for sure did, the 77 to 81 Firebirds. So that seemed like as good a place to start as any. Now at this point, we would probably be starting our internet searches for wiring diagrams, trying to find a match. However, by this point in our search, we could skip that step. Why? Well, remember earlier when I said that we'd already ruled out the 1982 Trans Am as being the source of these schematics? One of the ways that we ruled that out was by looking at our collection of service manuals on the car. We looked at the official GM shop manual, definitely not it. Even the style of how they drew their wiring diagrams was different. We then looked at our Haynes shop manual. The diagrams were much closer to the design and style of the semi-schematics, but still not perfect. For example, none of the captions had the word figure in front of them, like our ones on the semi-wall. But then we noticed something interesting. The border around each diagram and how it tied into the page number was identical to the diagrams on the semi-wall. When we saw this, we knew that these were Haynes wiring diagrams, pulled from page 331 of some mysterious book. We were getting closer. We were quite certain that the Haynes manual for one of these vehicles contained our golden wiring diagrams, so we decided to start with the Firebird. Makes sense, right? Now, these Haynes manuals have been reprinted over the years, and we know from past experience that details and wording gets changed in subsequent printings. So we wanted a very specific version of this manual, one printed around 1983, which is when the schematics first started appearing on the show. Scouring eBay, we found a Haynes manual covering the 1970 to 1981 Firebirds, and with a little bit of research, learned that the first printing of this book was in 1981 and the second printing was in 1983. Awesome. Our detective work also revealed minute changes in the front and rear covers for manuals for each printing. So we scoured eBay, found a 1983 printing of the 70 to 81 Firebird, and bought it for $5 no less. It was a long 4 days until the manual actually arrived. But what did we do first when we received it? Well, we opened it to page 331 to see if the diagram there matched the semi. To our amazement, it did. We had found the source of the schematics used inside the semi. Pages 330, 331, and 332 of the 1983 edition of the 1970 to 1981 Firebird Haynes manual make up the 3 schematic diagrams seen in the wall of the semi for seasons 2 through 4. Very, very cool. After the seemingly impossible task of identifying the origin of these schematics, having them cleaned up, blown up, and colorized was a piece of cake. And without further delay, presenting the set of 3 100% perfectly recreated semi-wall schematics. If you are interested in acquiring a set of these schematics to hang inside your mobile command center, we can make that happen. The originals that hung in the semi were 36 inches by 48 inches. Our reproductions are a bit smaller, coming in at 18 inches by 24 inches, and you'll have to supply your own frames. Information on how to order can be found in the description below. We have 10 sets available to ship immediately. Subsequent orders will ship 1 to 2 weeks after payment. They'll go fast, so do not wait. We can offer the full-size versions of these posters as well, the same size as seen in the semi, but they're quite expensive. Email us for more information. So there you have it. The schematics found hanging inside the flag semi are for a late 70s Firebird. Go figure. Now, if we can figure out what this piece of artwork is. As always, folks, we appreciate your time. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you next time.
And now, while we listen to Joe's selection of Knight Rider music that we received directly from Don Peak himself, we'd like to thank these Patreon supporters. Look at you guys scrolling up the screen to my right. Wait a minute, how can you tell which side is my right since you can't see me because I'm not on camera? Oh well, you know what I mean. We're featuring these fine supporters at our Knight Rider Prop Restorer level. Thank you very much for your support. And for those of you at the Knight Rider History Hunter level, we're recognizing you right now in the description. Now, if you enjoyed seeing this golden nugget of Knight Rider history being rescued from obscurity, then please consider supporting us on Patreon. Your support would empower us to bring you even more of these historical nuggets. We are the Knight Rider Historians. Till next time, take care, everybody. Bye-bye.